Hi knitters, welcome to episode 149 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I am your host, Devin AT. You can find me at knittymcpurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram, and if you want to email me, I am Devin at knittymcpurly.com. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much. You might notice I'm going to be talking about this lovely edition. I feel like her name is Brenda, but I kind of forget, on the Crocheting with Gigi part of the podcast. But you can see that Brenda is knitting. Leave it to Gigi. So I look a little tired and I sound like this because of allergies and because it was my friend's 50th birthday last night. And so we stayed out late and I did not get very much sleep and fall allergies. So here we are. I have so much to tell you, but I hate a knitting podcast that goes on and on about your personal life when it's a knitting podcast. So we're going to do the knitting first, and I will talk about all of my little personal updates at the end. So if you're interested, stick around and you can hear about all of the details of the past week of my life, which have been insane a little bit. The weather is beautiful. It is pure gorgeousness outside. It's like cold. It's perfect cowl weather. You might notice that I'm wearing my Flux cowl. Today, I wear it every day, pretty much, because it is an amazing accessory, but I'll talk about that. All I want to do is knit. That's all I want to do. And that is typical for me of this time of year. Like as soon as it cools off, I'm just like, give me some tea and a couch and a dog and some knitting and I will be just so happy. Those things, that perfect scenario almost never happens, but sometimes it does. This morning it did a little bit and it was beautiful. Okay, progress and shop news. So the Diggory Knitalong is coming to an end. So I went over on Instagram and I looked up the hashtag and there's like nothing. You guys, where are the Diggories? Do we not have enough time, or are you waiting to post your finished pictures? There's like not even any progress pictures. So post pictures on Instagram or email me or tell me if you need more time, because we can add more time, whatevs. That's totally fine. This is my thing and I can control it however I want. We can add time, we can do whatever. I did get this picture sent to me over email this week, and this is a beautiful knitter named Barb, and she is wearing her Diggory tee in the trinket colorway, which is one of my colors, and I love everything about this picture. I think she looks beautiful, her sweater looks beautiful, the colors, her outfit, the smile on her face. She sent me this picture and I was like, this picture is amazing. So I wanted to share it with you because it is inspiring. Like, do you have a Diggory? Do you wear it? Are you wearing it this time of year? Because this is a perfect time of year for a short sleeve sweater or a cowl or something that warms you up without like suffocating you with warmth. So I have been wearing mine a lot with my cowl, and yeah, it's just a great pattern. But where are you? What do you think about the Diggory Knitalong? How is it going? Because I feel like a lot of people were in on it, but I'm just not seeing the pictures. Show me the pictures. I want to see how it's going. This is a bottom-up sweater. It's fingering weight, and it's very basic, very basic. It lends itself well to any kind of adaptations you wanted to include, like I did one with stripes. You could add sleeves. Some people knit down the sleeve a little bit just to make a little more arm coverage. You can do a lot of things with this pattern. It's very much a blank slate. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Okay, the Audrey Knitalong starts a week from today, Sunday, October 22nd. And people are really excited about that. If you want to go get the pattern, it is half price. It's $3.50 with, you don't need a code. It's just on sale and you could go and get it. For some reason, people in New Zealand are not getting the sale price. I don't understand. Like, they're getting a discount. Like, for example, if it's $3.50, they'll be charged $7 in New Zealand dollars. I don't know. If you're from New Zealand, you're still getting a discount because 7 New Zealand dollars is like $4.50 maybe in American dollars. It's a weird thing. I don't understand, but I've had it happen with a couple of New Zealanders. It ends up being pretty close to the sale price. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. But the Audrey sweater pattern is a worsted weight sweater. And like I said, the pattern is half price. If you want to get Warsaw worsted from Knitty McPurly, you can get 15% off of that all week with code AudreyKal, AudreyKal. Even if it's a pre-order, I dyed 16 pots of yarn yesterday, you guys. I think that's a personal best in a day. And that's with piano lessons, and I had to take my son to a test for a few hours, and my friend turned 50, so it was a big day. Every day is like this. It's just busy. But 16 pots of yarn was maybe a personal best. So I'm dyeing a lot of yarn. Even if you have to put it in the cart as a pre-order, I will do my very best to get it to you before the Knitalong starts, unless you order it on Friday. That's too late. I mean, I'll still get it to you as quick as I can, but you're not gonna have it on Sunday. So if you wanna join the Audrey Knitalong, this is a worsted weight, top-down raglan sweater. It has, what's this called? Like an elbow sleeve, and it's not super long. It really goes very, very quickly. I designed and knit my Audrey in 4 days because it's worsted weight. It just goes so quick. Another cool aspect of this pattern is that it uses different sized needles to shape. So you start out with the smallest needle, and then as you knit down the sweater, you're using larger needles to create the shaping. I think it might be the only design that I've done that in. And it's just a really interesting way to design a sweater. And it's a fun way to knit a sweater, I think. I like that shaping rather than adding increases because it's less noticeable. You are able to begin the sweater without noticeable increases. So, all right. What else did I want to say about that? Yeah, Audrey is a super popular pattern. I've had people tell me that it's like their go-to sweater pattern. They've knit many, many multiples of them, and it goes really quick. This is a sweater. I've got a couple that I think, gosh, I should do this exact same design in another weight. Like this would be great in a fingering weight. I think that too about my Everywhere sweater, which is a bulky held with a mohair. And wouldn't it be cool to have that in a fingering weight too? Just like if you didn't want to be quite so warm. Okay, let's talk about the Flux cowl. So I introduced this pattern last week, and I have worn mine almost every day this week. I got an email from a lovely knitter who said, I was so glad to see you put it on like this. I'll stand up so you can see a little bit better. I was so glad to see you put it on like this because this is what got me to buy the pattern. I actually love a thing like this because sometimes it's just your upper arms that are cold and you just need a little bit of coverage without it being something super fitted. So this is a trapezoid shape. Gosh, I gotta think, my brain isn't fully working yet this morning, but it is bottom up and you work increases and decreases to form the shape, ultimately decreasing in the end to make it kind of a trapezoid. But I do love this. I just think it is so great. And I'll wear it with everything, a vest or a jacket or whatever. But it's just really nice when you're just a little bit cold, which I am right now. So it's perfect. The Flux cowl is still half price if you want to go grab it. So this would be a $6 pattern. So it's $3 right now if you want to go and grab that. I rearranged my website a little bit, but before I get there, I want to ask what you guys think of the Dresden DK, because many of you have received yours, and leave me a comment, let me know what you think of it, because it is different. And I'm going to talk more about that when I talk about my Go Lightly sweater that I'm working on, because I'm making that in Dresden DK. So the Flux cowl is Dresden DK, which is a Surrey silk, but DK. So it has so much fluff and it's just great. I really went into depth about that last week. So go watch that episode if you didn't see it. But it is unique to work with. It's kind of like a thick and thin yarn or an eyelash yarn. It just does not have a lot of stitch definition. So for this pattern, this is worked on a US 10.5 needle. And for me, as a beginner to this yarn, that was a great segue into using it because I'm working on a US 4 for my sweater, and that's very different, but you get used to it. Like anything else, it becomes easy and then you're addicted and you're like, now I want to make everything in this yarn. So I wanted to say that I rearranged my website because last week I was just introducing the Dresden DK, so I had that listed as its own thing, but now I have it listed under each color. So if you go to the Kits and Yarn tab and you scroll down and you find the colors, you can go in there and choose your base. All of the Dresden DK is currently a pre-order because I did dye up some yesterday and that's maybe not on the website yet. So if you order it and it ships out right away, it's because I already dyed it. I just hadn't put it on the website yet. So what you do is you go in and you scroll down to where it says Dresden DK pre-order and you can order that and it will ship relatively quickly because I am a yarn dyeing machine. I love dyeing yarn. It's just so fun. My whole life is fun. Everything I get to do is just so fun. I work a lot, but you know, when you do what you love, you don't work. You just have a good time. So that's my life. I added this color. This color is called Dusty. And on this base, it is more muted than it is on a normal base, kind of a regular, like a superwash base, like Frankfurt fingering, or Dubrovnik DK or Warsaw worsted. On all of those bases, it comes out a little stronger. I'll try and put up some pictures. I'm still working on, you know, kind of getting those pictures up on the website, but it's on its way up. And if you like it, you can go order it right now. Because when it sold out last week, people were like, well, how do I pre-order it? And I was like, oh, I don't have a pre-order. So I went in and did it all up. Oh, here's a fun fact. It has fuzz. So last week for the wedding, and I'll talk about that at the end. I'm going to show pictures and I'll go into my personal life at the end of the podcast. But I had to take Gigi to get ready because she was the maid of honor in the wedding. And all the girls got ready together. It was a really wonderful experience. So I get myself, you know, put together enough to go help these girls get ready. And I've got something in my eye and I'm looking in the mirror and there's nothing there. I'm like, there is nothing in my eye, but there is something there. It's bothering me all morning. And I get home and I kind of just grab my eyelashes and pull them away from my eye. And there's a little piece of fluff stuck to my eyeball. So that's the occupational hazard of working with the Dresden. Just keep your eyes safe. And if you feel like there's something in your eye and you go and you look in the mirror and there's nothing there, it's fluff. Crazy. Oh my gosh, so funny. All right. I have so many things to tell you guys. So I'm going to do my best to get everything in there. Coming up on Friday, this Friday, which is the 20th, October 20th. See, it's the fluff. It's fluff combined with allergies and you're just like, it's crazy. The sock rulers will be back in the shop on Friday. So here's the situation with the sock rulers. I have some and I have more coming and I will do a pre-order. So I will put the sock rulers up with the amount that I have in stock as a buy now and that will ship to you right away. But if they sell out, there will be a pre-order option that I will leave up all of next weekend through a reasonable number of sock orders. If you guys order 500 sock rulers, I don't know what I will do. That will be too many. I won't have that many available for pre-order. But some normal number of pre-order, like 100 maybe. you guys have already bought hundreds of sock rulers from me. And I know that people keep missing it. So I don't want to stress you out. I know the stress of if I don't get there right away, they're going to be sold out. And that's annoying. So I'm going to do, this is what I have, and then the pre-order so that you have all weekend to leisurely log in and peacefully order your sock ruler without feeling rushed and, stressed. That's terrible. Knitting should never cause us stress. And when it does, there's something wrong. So I also am going to have a balm pre-order. I didn't bring my balm up here, but the balm sold out really quickly in the tins. I still have the red flannel balm available in the shop in the stick. People are calling that travel size, and some people love it, not only because it's smaller, but because you don't have to put your hands in the tin. I personally love to dig my hands into the tin and rub it on my feet and just put it everywhere. But some people don't want to touch it with the front of their hands. They just want to rub it on the backs of their hands and not have it on their palms. So the stick is available now, but if you missed out on the balm, you'll be able to pre-order that on Friday also. And that's I'm just going to make a whole bunch of that. We're going to have a lot of that because this is such a great scent. See, there's more fluff. It's the occupational hazard of the Dresden DK. You were warned. Or maybe I'm warning you a little late if you have a skein of it. But it's a lot of fluff. But I love fluff. What's not to love except when it sticks to your eyeball? So, okay, I think that's all the shop news. And I wanted to talk to you about my Go Lightly sweater named after Holly Golightly, a very iconic movie character played by Audrey Hepburn, who is the inspiration for my Audrey collection. In case you didn't put that together, I've never really, it's not on my website like that, but I do have a collection of Audrey Hepburn inspired sweaters, including the Audrey sweater, the Hepburn sweater, and the Go Lightly sweater. They're all very classic, basic sweaters in DK, fingering weight, and worsted weight. Not in that order. Audrey is worsted, Go Lightly is DK, and Hepburn is a fingering weight. So you kind of pick the one that works best for you. Both of the turtlenecks, you can take the turtleneck off. If you did the Hepburn or Go Lightly, have a turtleneck option. See, there's more fluff. But you don't have to do that. So I took a little video of me working on my Go Lightly sweater, and I'm gonna put it right here because I want you to see what it looks like kind of close up to work with this yarn on a small needle. This is a US 4. So you can see it's a little bit like, got some hair in there. It's a little bit like a thick and thin yarn or an eyelash yarn. And sometimes you have to kind of check and see, like, is that one strand or two? Like that right there is not a stitch. That's just the fluff. So I just kind of wanted to give you a little view into what this is like to work with. It's addicting, and you learn it, you get used to working with it, but it's not maybe as beginner friendly as something where you can really clearly see your stitches, but it glides along pretty well. So it's addicting, like you get hooked on it. I am 2 increased rows away from my sleeve split. What am I looking at here? Okay, so this is the sleeve, and the Go Lightly sweater, this is Fontaine in the Dresden DK, and you can see it's a much tighter, it looks like almost a boucle. Is that how you say that? Boucle? And it looks very different from this because this is a rib pattern and it's worked on a much larger needle, and this is just stockinette. But you can see how little stitch definition there is. It just does not have a lot of stitch definition. So if you are a beginner knitter, I don't recommend starting with the Dresden DK. my dad is actually knitting my mom a scarf for Christmas. It's not a secret. I've actually known about this for a while, but I didn't say anything because my mom watches the podcast. Hi, Mom. And so she was like, well, what about that new yarn? Because he's using the trinket colorway. And I gave him Amsterdam Aran, which is a beautiful, it has cashmere in it. It's very, very soft. It'll make a great scarf. And he's going to do garter stitch. But my mom was like, what about that new fluffy one? And I'm like, it's not for beginners because the stitch definition is just not sufficient. So this, you can see because the camera really shows all the detail, you can see it better than I can, and I can see it better in my little screen here, that this is the raglan shaping, and it's just not that obvious. And the way that I counted my increases, I actually, let's see if I can show you. I actually pulled it and I looked, it's hard to see, where even? And I looked at the bars to count the rows. That's how I counted my increases. Normally on a raglan sweater, you can see those increases very clearly with any kind of normal yarn, because anything with good stitch definition, you can just see those increases and you just 1, 2, 3, 4, you can just count them. But that was not as easy on this. So I also, another way you can check it is stitch count. So I went by, I'm supposed to have 82 stitches on the front. And right now I have 78. And so I've got 2 more increases to do. Is that right? I don't know. It's not fully, I've had coffee and I didn't bring any up with me, which I really should have, but it's not fully happening up there right now. But I love this. I love it. It is great. And this is Fontaine, and you can see the hand-dyed quality of the yarn. This is what you get with a hand dye. I love that. It's not a bug, it's a feature. I love the colors and how the dye pot magic just lights up certain stitches and you get all of the beautiful variation. Love. So I'm excited about this. It's so fun. The Go Lightly sweater, like I said, does have a turtleneck, but it makes it very warm. I love my Go Lightly sweater. I wear it all the time in the winter, but it really has to be cold. If I wear it in a place to an event where I'm going to be inside or moving around a lot or speaking, I do end up getting very warm. So I took the turtleneck out, all I did, and you can see it really well on the camera, better than I can right here. I just did a few rows of ribbing to make the neck. And there's a puff in the sleeve, which you really can't see. And you can a little bit. It's just a series of increases there in the sleeve. So anyway, it's fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. That's all I want to do right now. Okay. I filmed this little Crocheting with Gigi segment a few days ago because she had made this, and you get to see her for the first time. I believe her name was Brenda. Anyway, here's that.
Okay.
Welcome to Crocheting with Gigi.
So I finished the blanket, which looks the same as it always does. So it's just that, but done. Mm-hmm. And so I had extra yarn.
And we had a day off of school today.
I know.
It was totally weird.
Totally weird, but now...
Before we show this, can we just discuss how amazing we look right now?
So classy. Both of us.
If I had known we were going to do this, I wouldn't have fake tanned last night, because now I look like way tanner.
And I'm like haunting this house with my whiteness. And so is Brenda. I made a chicken. All right, Mom, I need you to close your eyes.
I have not seen the chicken
She
yet.
hasn't seen
That's
it
why
yet.
we're
We
filming it right
saved
now.
it.
Okay, ready?
Okay, close your eyes. Oh my gosh. We see the chicken. It's Brenda! Isn't she amazing? She hasn't seen her before.
Look at her wings. Did you follow the directions?
I followed the directions.
These are the most amazing directions ever.
I improvised this because it was so confusing. They were using crochet words I didn't know, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wing it. And literally, I wing it.
She's got little pink cheeks.
It was so easy. I just tied a string I just looped it through there, tied a knot, put the knot to the back, and that's what it looked like. Oh, it was supposed to be made with mini yarn, but I had yarn from the blanket, so this is a sturdy chicken. She's like,
oh my gosh, can I have her?
yeah, I figured you could put her like back here.
We'll find a good spot for Brenda. Maybe she can be friends with this derpy.
Brenda!
See, now I'm gonna have to take it down for the beginning half of the podcast because I haven't filmed that yet.
Oh, then people are gonna be like, "Where's the chicken?
Where's the chicken?" Oh my gosh, I love her so much.
There might be another segment with me because I might crochet some more stuff.
Go crochet some more stuff and then come back.
Brenda!
All right.
She's whiter than me.
At least there's that. At least this white yarn is whiter than you.
It's supposed to be white. Oh,
okay,
man.
Gigi, go crochet some more stuff.
Yay!
Okay, bye.
I think it's a little too sturdy.
Okay, topic of the week. So as I am working on my own Go Lightly sweater, which calls for 6 skeins of yarn in my size, but I thought, I bet I don't need 6 because I took out the turtleneck. So this is my first skein, and this is how far I got. I'm almost to the sleeve divide. So okay, it's very early around here. That's why the light is kind of, it's soft light because the morning is just starting and some people are still sleeping and they don't know that I'm doing this. But anyway, so I thought it would probably be helpful to you as knitters to understand how pattern designers come up with the yarn requirements, because it can just seem like witchcraft or guessing. And it's really not either of those things, it's math. And as somebody who math does not come naturally for me, I have to really try. I have to really, really understand it for me to be able to do it properly. It is easier for me to explain for that reason. Fluff, sticks to your lip gloss. Okay. So it's not guessing, it's not witchcraft. Basically, in order to determine how much yarn you need for the sweater, it all starts with a swatch. So the designer will do a swatch in the yarn at the gauge with the needle and the stitch pattern. And the swatch can be any size, it doesn't really matter, it just needs to be large enough. And with the swatch, you know exactly how much yarn you used because you can weigh it. And when you weigh it, there's a calculation you do with cross multiplying to figure out exactly how many yards are in your swatch. So then, once you have that calculation, you calculate the area of each size of the sweater using the measurements, and you can figure out how many swatches down to whatever, decimal point you want. I usually go to the second decimal point, hundredths. And that lets you know exactly how many yards would be used in making the sweater. So without boring you too much, without too much detail, that's basically how you do it. And so at that point, you say, well, there are many factors that could cause the knitter to need more or less yarn. If their gauge is slightly off, if they have a couple days where they're knitting differently, if they change the design in any way by adding something or making it longer or whatever. So as a designer, we typically add 10 or 15% because the worst case scenario is that you don't have enough yarn. I think that's the worst case scenario. The second worst case scenario is that you have too much yarn. So ideally, we want to point you to a place where you will have less than 1 skein left over. That's ideal. It doesn't always work out that way because there are many, many factors that go into exactly how much yarn you are using. But that is how we do it. And it's not easy. It's not as precise as we would like it to be. I mean, ideally, you would get exactly the right yarn. You wouldn't have any left over. And, the angels would sing as you finish your sweater with this little tail left, and there it is. It doesn't always work out like that, but we wish that it did. So I just thought that might be a little bit helpful for you to know that designers are trying their best to point you to the right amount of yarn, and we would rather you have too much over too little, because too little is the worst, unless it's a design where you have a lot of color work, or you could easily add in another color and it wouldn't really matter. But if you're working with a hand dye or something and that dye lot is gone, it's really hard to add it in unless you're alternating skeins. And even then it can be obvious if you don't get enough yarn. Okay, moving on to the comments. Kathleen Hammond said, I'm so happy to hear about the interview with Christy Glass. What happened was so awful, and I'm glad that she is doing well. A lot of you left comments like this, that you're excited to see that interview. I'm excited to see it too, because I really just had such a fun time talking to her that I wasn't really like paying attention. I just had fun. And most of you understand and know about what happened to Christy, but I did also get this comment. Lori Nolan said, how do you get canceled in the knitting community? Who decides that? There are podcasters that I may not agree with and patterns that I may not like, but I don't have to watch them or buy their patterns. Lori is so smart. That's exactly right. She says, I'm quite shocked to hear this, but I'm sticking with you. Thank you so much. I know, I mean, you could just look away. You don't have to cancel people. But basically, this is what happened to Christy. The mob, whoever that is, I don't know, but the mob decides that you have done something unforgivable and now you are the worst person in the world and you have to be canceled. And so it's just like bullying in junior high, where all the girls gang up in a circle around you and everybody has to be on the side of the mob. And so they threaten the big name people and they say, you will join us or we'll cancel you. And they say, okay. And you don't exactly know who they've said that to, but it's people you wouldn't expect. And it's just like bullying in junior high. That's exactly what it is. So I don't play that game. I would never, ever I would get beaten up before I would cancel someone because the mob told me to. Go ahead, cancel me, cancel whoever you want. They're my new best friend. Anyway, okay. Lori Nolan's another comment. I got 2 of your comments, Lori. You're lucky. I was a little choosy this time. She says, happy birthday, Gigi. How did Gigi become besties with a girl 7 years older than her? I'm curious because that would mean when her friend was a teen, Gigi would have been just a tater tot. So true, but Maggie's yard backs up to our yard and we've been friends forever. I met Maggie when she was 5 and Alexis, my oldest daughter, was 3 and I only had the one child at the time. And, we've just known them forever. And Gigi and Maggie are kindred spirits. It doesn't matter that they're not the same age. You know how sometimes you just meet somebody and it doesn't matter? And even at their age, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Okay, Anna Hutchins says, yes, it is true about Signature Needles and they are not producing needles any longer. What I understand, however, is that the website may still be active and selling whatever they have on hand, but not making any more needles beyond that. Perhaps knitters might have to search used websites for their products at this point. So that's a good tip. If you want very expensive, very high quality needles, go get them now because they're not making needles anymore. They are very expensive, so. Okay, this wins the award for my favorite comment of last week. Laundromat Girl says, I hate to say this, but after your colonoscopy prep, you might want to change the name of the Go Lightly sweater. This is the name of the prep liquid that we would have patients drink at the hospital in preparation for their colonoscopy. So I literally said the words Go Lightly and colonoscopy last week in the same podcast. Like, how? Oh my gosh. She says, when I saw the name, I figured you had never heard of it, but as a nurse, it gave me pause. I love you, Devin, and I hope you don't take that in the wrong way. Love your show, and I hope everything comes out clean and with no polyps. Oh my gosh. Hilarious. So an internet search led me to realize that there is a prep liquid for the colonoscopy called Go Lightly. Light is spelled L-Y-T-E, like electrolyte, not like Holly Golightly, which is the namesake of the sweater. Crazy. Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard at that. It was so funny. I'm going to talk more about that at the end of the podcast, so stick around if you want all the details. Okay, for now, knitting fantasies. As a long-armed person, I have very long arms. I'm tall, but my arms are still too long for my body. I mean, they're just super long. So I thought this time of year, let's talk about wrist warmers, because my wrists are always cold. Sometimes they are called fingerless gloves. What else? Wrist warmers and fingerless gloves, I think, are the two most common. And so I picked two patterns that are both free. The first one, hand warmers. What did I say? Wrist warmers? The Traveling Cable Hand Warmers by Pearl Soho. And these are designed by a designer called Gina Rockenwagner, who designs for Pearl Soho. And I think that these are really, really pretty. They have a rib on the inside and a cable, inside meaning on the palm of the hand, and a cable on this side. And as a result, they're very snug. The thing that annoys me the most about a wrist warmer, hand warmer, fingerless glove pattern is if it is baggy. I do not want baggy fingerless gloves. I want them to be tight. And so the two patterns that I picked today fulfill that requirement. It's a free pattern. I have it linked down below if you want to check that out. And this takes 1 skein of a sport weight yarn. I love a 1 skein project, like a cowl or fingerless gloves. That is always very, very nice. So go check that out if you want. My second pick is by Mirella Moments, and this is the Thicket fingerless gloves, also fitted, also cabled, and also free. Now this uses 1 skein of an Aran weight yarn, so a much thicker fingerless glove depending on how heavy you want your gloves. It'd kind of be nice to have one of each, I think. But if you love free patterns, then go check those out. Okay, so here's what happened. You guys have not sent me stories. You have not sent them to me. So please send them to me. Send me your knitting stories. Even if you think, oh, I don't have a story, or maybe that wasn't a very interesting story. It's a story. Send it to me. Devin, D-E-V-I-N, at KnittyMcPurly.com. You can video it. You can send me an audio recording. You can type it out and I will read it for you. But just send me your knitting stories, because this is a weekly podcast, friends, and I need a story every week. But lest you think I'm going to let you down today, I am not. I actually have a really funny story of my own. So you might know that in my shop, I have labels for certain designs. The Diggory tee is an example, and you can purchase these and you can sew them into your sweater so that it's like a really cool label and it's got the name of the sweater on it, and it shows you quickly the front from the back. That's really nice. So somebody messaged me, I'm sorry, I don't remember who, but it was a very helpful message. She said, you know, with the Audrey Knitalong, why don't you make an Audrey label? And I was like, yes, let's do that. We'll have it in time to get everybody their yarn and their patterns and their labels before the Audrey Knitalong starts. So I got on my iPad and I opened up Procreate and I designed a little Audrey label. And so I went to my label supplier and I ordered the labels, and this is what they should look like, right? This is a label for the back of a sweater. So you want to see what came? Yeah. So it's a beautiful label, right? I bought a license to use this picture of Audrey Hepburn from the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's as Holly Golightly. And I looked up her signature and I didn't like it. The A kind of looks like an O. And so I wrote this myself and just kind of made it look a little signature-y. And I meant to order this size and I got this size, which, oh my gosh, it was just so hilarious. Like, I opened it and I went to my husband and I was like, so I called them because I was unable to pull up my order online because I somehow ordered without being logged in. I don't know. I'm an idiot. So I called them up and I said, I just don't know what happened. I don't know if I ordered it wrong or if you guys sent me the wrong one, because who would order a label this size? Like, why do they even make labels this size? I just thought it was like, I just assumed, I guess I didn't need to check it that carefully because I don't know. It was my error. And I said, oh, it was an expensive error. And I was like, oh man, what a bummer. I said, okay, well, I'll just go on and I'll reorder them in the right size. And the lady said, you know what? We give you a free mistake. And she said, I'm gonna go ahead and just tell me what size you want. So I gave her normal dimensions for a normal label. And she went in and ordered them for me and is just sending them to me as a, here you go, you made a mistake, but we forgive you. Here are the labels. So I do have a bunch of these and they're kind of hilarious. So when they come in, when the normal size ones come in, I will have them up for $3 like all the other labels, and I'll send you one of these also just for fun, because you could sew it in the back of your sweater. You could do that and just let it kind of hang down like that. It's very soft. It's not itchy at all. Or you can just laugh about it and chuck it. I don't care, whatever you want. I just thought it was so, so funny. Okay, so here's my personal life update. Thanks for sticking around for this part. If you came for the knitting, feel free to turn it off now because I'm done talking about knitting right now. But I had a crazy week, you guys. So I had a colonoscopy on Wednesday, and everything they tell you about colonoscopy prep is accurate. It's the worst. It's terrible. It's just awful. If you've never had a colonoscopy, here is my tip for you. Get help, and don't plan on from the time the prep starts until the end of the colonoscopy, do not plan to do anything. Don't cook dinner, don't clean the house, don't tuck anyone into bed. You're not available, okay? And no one really told me that, and I guess I probably should have figured it out, but I didn't. So I was, in the throes of colonoscopy prep, which is everything that they say that it is. And I was cooking and I was cleaning, and I didn't homeschool, even though I thought I could. Why did I think I could do that? I didn't. I was like, it's a day off, and kids would come to me with questions, and I was like, I don't care. Do whatever you want. You can have screen time. You can do anything you want. Just don't ask me any more questions. Yeah, it was Mother of the Year material for sure. But just like they say, the actual colonoscopy itself is nothing. It's just nothing. And I have the world's most amazing, beautiful, pristine, polyp-free colon. The last time I had a routine cancer screening, they found cancer when I had a mammogram when I was 42. And so I was a little nervous about this on the inside. Like, I didn't really voice it all that much, but I was pretty nervous. And so the days after that, Thursday and Friday, I was on like cloud 9. I was so happy. And I think it was just a relief to know that I didn't have any more cancer treatment in my immediate future. That was a huge weight off of my mind. So that is good. Very happy about that. Okay, that's all I want to say about that. I just think it's hilarious that the Go Lightly is a colonoscopy prep. That's crazy. Who knew? And why? That's just ridiculous. It wasn't the one that I used. I used some other one. I don't know. I don't care. I never want to think about it again. I don't have to go back for 10 years. So yay. And more importantly, before that was Maggie's wedding. And it was so beautiful. I'm going to show you pictures. And they're Orthodox. So they had an Orthodox Mass wedding. And it was so beautiful. The music was so beautiful and the singing. And we loved it so much that today I'm actually filming this in the morning because we are going to an Eastern Rite Catholic church for the first time as a family. I have been like a Byzantine Catholic church. If you're not familiar with the difference between the Orthodox and the Catholics, because people know there's Catholics and there's Protestants, but there's also Orthodox, and that's a really interesting history. So I guess I'll tell you about that next week if you're interested. Let me know. But we're going there today. We're leaving in like an hour, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. I could go Eastern Rite Catholic in a heartbeat. It's Catholic, but it's a different rite within the Catholic Church. And I'm really excited about it. It's just so beautiful. So yeah, so there are 6 liturgical rites and 23 or 24 different church, like, groups within the Catholic Church under the Pope. And it's just so interesting. I'm really excited about it. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for watching this far. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Happy knitting.